How you doing, friends? We got a really interesting one here. This is actually a little side project for me, but in the interest of knowing I got parts coming, sometimes I'll take several saws apart just to make sure I know what parts we need. This is one of them cases. Uh, this is a Pioneer P51. I know some of you have been looking for it, Ben. Pay attention, buddy. I'm building one for Ben. He got a P62. That's pretty good size saw. I ain't messing around. So, what we're doing, first, correct any problems there was. Well, the first thing I noticed, the flywheel was broke. I don't like that too good. So, what I'll probably do is I'll look around, see if I can find a flywheel somewhere. Somebody will have a flywheel for me, I know it. Hopefully, we can find one. But I think the P50, P51, P52 is the same flywheel. The first thing I noticed that this saw was low on compression, especially after running that real nice one that Buckin had here, and we agreed we didn't want to port that. That was low hour machine. This one's got more hours, but they're good hours. But there's things that I look at. I want to know what was going on with the saw. Look at that. Boy, they got a big coil. Okay, the first thing I can tell you with all that crud buildup, that was sticking about a mile away from that flywheel. Does that make a difference? Apparently not. It did run. Okay, plug color. That plug is white. Okay, that's lean. That's too lean. So what was going on is this saw was leaned out. Now that's a governed carburetor, and it whacks out on that governor. Okay. So that was pushed a little far, and it looks like it'd run a while that way. Okay, lean one out. It was still obviously oil in the bearings. All the bottom end of this looks good. But I'm going to try to get you guys where you can see this piston. Let me just see what I can do. I'm going to just do that. Okay, so we'll explain. Okay, you see the black brown underneath? That's telling me there was an awful lot of exhaust gases after it fired going down along the piston, you know. So I made a good call getting rings, okay? I really did. And I was worried about the piston. I think this one will run just fine. When I pull this off the wrist pin, I'll know. I'll know exactly what I'm dealing with. But I'm going to tell you what we do have. We have, you ain't going to see this for nothing, I know it. Let me get a light in there. We have a nice cylinder. I don't know how other people do that and get such good luck, but I'm just telling you, we got a nice cylinder there. There's nothing wrong with that cylinder for anything. Okay? So, let's talk about, go back a ways. And we talked about, I'm putting a set of reed cage, I'm putting a reed cage in a 372, and I'm going to bottom case feed that. Okay, here's the deal. This is the way it is. When that reed is in this case, I don't care, in this case it's in the top of the case or the bottom or side, it don't matter. That's case fed. That goes right in underneath the crankshaft. And what's really cool about this, it's fed in such a way that in the direction of rotation, it just helps that pull air fuel around that saw. Okay, I knew I liked these Pioneers for a reason. Okay, another thing is they got a very ample exhaust port. They really do. There is a bridge there. There's some work there to do, yeah. It's got awfully nice transfers. We expected that. We'll be cutting this down, opening the primary transfer up at least, because that's a little negated actually on one side only. That's what's funny. But when you get them like that, you get an exhaust, but on the other side, see, there's no intake. That's your intake. I just want you guys to understand what's going on here. This is your reed cage. Now what happens, your carburetor is bolted to your reed cage. When that piston changes direction, it opens this little reed right here. This is a stopper. This limits how far the reed goes. Okay, I'm explaining this for a reason. Now see that carburetor size? Look what I found that bolts right up to it in my right hand. Oh yeah, you just trust me, there's a difference. That carburetor bolts right up to the saw. Okay, 2 adjustment screws. This one's got 2. This is the one that's supposed to be on the saw. But the difference is, see that little brass screw right there? It's governed carburetor. I know how to get around that governor, but I'm not going to. I'm going to solve some problems. Okay, fuel line goes right there. It doesn't matter. There's room on the other side for the fuel line right here. I can do that. That works. I already checked that out. We are going to get a much bigger carburetor. I do have to do a little something. Well, a little tab here for the linkage to go for, your throttle. And this, and I've done this one before several times. Take that screw off. I can flip it over and turn it. It's supposed to be up here at this angle. That goes right up there. That's going to, choke's automatically going to work. But I got to do a little thing. Okay, now that picks up the vacuum and pressure out of one of these holes right here. It comes right through into the case. Okay, now what that does is that makes the diaphragm pump fuel. Well, using this carburetor, it's on top. Okay, so what I'm going to do is get a nipple for vacuum. And I am going to put that right there. Plenty of room. It's not in my way of nothing. I already checked. And so we're going to put a nipple in there. We're going to get a much bigger carburetor on this. It's an 82cc saw, come on, and these are real carburetor, don't it? So, now, they run good with these, don't think they didn't. We're looking for something more. Okay? So, our something more is, we're looking at carburation. Okay, we're looking at compression. The squish on this, well, let's just put it this way. That cylinder had a lot of squish. We're going to do a base gasket delete. I'm not going to say I'm going to do this. But let's just see where that lands. If that lands in there about 28 or 30, I'm going to go ahead and let that squish be that good. What your squish is the area when the piston's at top dead center. How much room is there to the let's call it the cylinder head? How much clearance? You get that too tight, things get a way of stretching, and it'll go ahead and piston will start slapping that cylinder. You'll know when you do one of them. You'll hear it go brrr. So the bigger and heavier things are, the less I worry about it. 71cc, I like seeing them about 20, 24, 25 is fine. Bigger saws, I don't mind if they're a little bit more, because things will stretch. Okay, so we know that we can get this other carburetor on there that doesn't belong anywhere near this saw. It's not even from the same part of the world. We know we have a good cylinder. I love the transfer timing on this. I already checked it. Oh my goodness sakes. I love the timing on the transfers. But I know I can do some gains on this. I can do big gains. I already been playing one of these guys, one of my own. I've kept that quiet at this point because I want to sneak up on things. I knew this moment would come where I'd get to do another P51. And I knew I was going to do that P62 for Ben. And I want things spot on by the time that I get to his. This one kind of come out of the blue for Buckin, and I just wanted to get this part, see what we needed. Okay. Let's talk about this reed. Okay. I need you to know that reed pedal, you can play with the thicknesses of them. I found that I can get a blazing. Okay, that'll be good. Now, the reed that comes in this, they won't turn up just like a dirt bike won't without it being in gear. Well, these things have to have a load on them before they'll open. Okay, and this limits how much it opens. Now, you can change the radius right here because it actually stops it back here. Okay, it isn't up here. You'll never get a reed to hit that, never in a million years. It'll be right down here in this area. So we have two things we can do. Go thicker or thinner with the reeds. You can actually take these reeds and sand them down and bevel and edge or do whatever you want to. If you go thicker with that reed, that isn't going to open as fast. In this case here, I just got a gut feeling I want a thinner reed, okay? So we're gonna do this. I'm gonna probably order that blazing, and I'm gonna try it. Now the good news is once I get to this reeds and I start playing around with these, Pioneer, like a lot of saw builders at the time, used these reed cages. Okay, I know the potential of them. You dirt bike and snowmobile guys do too. What I want you to understand is they didn't make them hit. Anybody that's ever been around two-stroke, you know, you're kind of like, it goes, bam, 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 all of a sudden, bam, it's gone. Okay? They didn't want a chainsaw to do that. I do. I want Buckin to have a thrill with this one, all right? So what I'm doing is some alterations to this. And we're going to play with that, so I got a chainsaw that hits. I mean, actual hits. I want that to come right off and go bang, come right into some good horsepower. Now, this intake. It's about 760, about 3/4 of an inch. Okay, the carburetor that I'm using is 885. Okay, that's quite a little difference, ain't there? Okay, there is. I gotta be careful doing this stuff. I'm opening this intake up to nearly the size of that carburetor. I don't know if I want to push it all the way. I might just go ahead and go for broke because I know how to seal these up. But if I can get that bigger, a larger cross-sectional area there, will let that motor draw more air and change how this reed works already. So this is why this is going to be a little trial and error. Okay, the good news is I'm well versed on reeds in bikes, but not saws. So this is a learning curve for me here. I'm going to share everything with you, anything I find. I don't recommend you getting a saw that's got a full tilt hit like a freaking Yamaha YZ250. So that'd be just a violent hit. But I want a good heavy hit. If it gets too violent, I can always back off on what I'm doing with that reed. But we have plenty of reeds around here because we got lots of bikes. And we are going to play with reed thicknesses. I'm not going to play with much else. I'm going to change the opening and closing with this. This is easy. I can determine how fast I want it to open, how hard I want it to hit, and everything by thickness of reed changes and how much I want to limit that reed. This reed, I can tell you right now, is limited way back. You know, you can hear them snap. Okay? And the old dirt bike test of knowing whether a reed was sealing good or not is you blew through it and then you suck through it, you know, and you go. Oh, and that nice. It's got a call. Isn't that amazing? When I get done, it's not going to do that anymore. what it's going to do instead is you're going to hear the exhaust noise. And that's going to be different. Okay, this muffler here. Okay, I was a little surprised it had on the inside, you're not going to see this, I'm just going to tell you. Right in here is this big baffle with some really small holes. And then it exits right here. I didn't know they had that baffle in there. See, that was it's trying to fall out already. All right. I just want you to know I might not use none of this. I just might not. I wonder if this comes off. I got a feeling we're gonna put a pipe. We're gonna build something for this. If we got a good read, yeah, that must be spot welded on there. But yeah, that moves around in there. But I can make some big changes there, and I know it. You guys know it too. You already know what they sound like when they're piped. Okay, bigger carburetor. More compression. Nice work on the transfers. We're going to do spot on stuff with this. Better exhaust flow. Severely upgraded exhaust system. I didn't realize how restrictive these mufflers really were. And this one was especially restricted because this muffler actually was blowing right there, hitting that piece of metal. That set. Just like that. And that hole in that muffler blowing straight on there, and there wasn't no room. Well, we ain't going for none of that. Okay, this saw is going to be a runner. There's really nothing to figure out. It's just the only thing I have to do is I'll have them reads probably the 26. I'm going to have my port work and prep work done. If you want to see this one on video building it, I will. But I haven't been showing them lately. As some of you guys, I've had your saw a long time. Dan Kemenetti's one of them. He is a good man. He's got something good coming for me. I've had his saw, I'll bet you, 3 months. We couldn't get parts. But his was a special build anyway. There was something a little more to it that I'm not going to share yet. But there's some of you guys who have been patient. Please continue to be patient. And we're going to get through this. We are getting parts. There's some things I haven't been able to get yet. I'm expecting after Christmas they'll be available. And then we can get into the normal builds like we normally do. We've been doing 390s and 268s, 272s. And we'll continue to do so until I can get all the parts I need for the 372s. I have a little bit of the parts for some of them, but not a lot. Okay, so you kind of got the breakdown of what we're doing on this. Bottom end's great in this. One of you guys got a flywheel for one of these, hit me up. Email me. I need to find one. I can probably get one on eBay easy enough. But in the worst case, I'll just rob one off my saw because it'll work. And then I can replace it at a later date. I want to see Buckin running this saw as fast as I can get it to him. Because with what I've been doing with my own personal one, as a test saw, you're going to be dumbfounded what you end up with. Now, I will warn you, these are good cutting saws to begin with when they're right. And when they're not right, they'll still cut. But just think about being unlimited on that carb and the changes we're doing here. We're going to gain massive. Thank you so much. I'm going to try to pull a stunt this weekend. Yeah, another one of them crazy stunts. If it works, you're going to see it. If it don't, I'm never going to mention it again. I'm not going to jinx myself. Every time I say I'm going to do this and we're going to do it on video, something freaking happens where I can't do it. So I'm not saying a word. Just be ready to watch it. Goodbye.